and I'll just, do you want to introduce yourself? You can look at the camera and introduce yourself and what your credentials are and why I chose you to be on this episode. So you can do that.
Hi, Leanne's party people.
There you go.
I'm Laurie McDonald, and I'm Leanne's mother-in-law.
Yeah.
And I'm also a registered dietitian nutritionist. So she's asked me to come on board and ask some questions and answer some questions about nutrition.
Perfect. That's great. How long have you been a nutritionist, a registered dietitian?
Oh, yeah, you're dating me.
This gives you credibility, I think. It gives you credibility.
Since 1980, so
that's awesome.
It's been a while.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, what would you say to, because you've had surgeries, you've gone through, so tell them a little bit about your history with your 2 hip surgeries and things like that and your recovery.
Along about my 57th year of life, my hips started falling apart, and just so happened it was the exact same year I was going through menopause. But cartilage just disintegrated, so I had to have bilateral bypass.
Bilateral bypass.
Bilateral total hip replacement. And that sent me on a search of why. And just learning that all of us need to be eating an anti-inflammatory diet. And that helps save the joints, helps with arthritis and arthritis pain.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I deal with a lot of people with arthritis and total hips. And so I see a lot of pre-total hip surgery or total hip replacement and then also post-total hip replacement. Now, there's a lot of research out there that says, the main concern is constipation, right, after surgeries. Did your doctors tell you that as well?
Well, and that was from pain meds. And so
right.
I tried to get away with not taking the pain meds.
Yeah.
That didn't work.
Didn't work, okay. But I found a lot of that interesting, but I found a lot of also the things that they're telling you to put into your body for constipation, for avoiding that is also some of the things that you cook with for us.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Right. And tell me too, so how did that help you in your, because you talked about searching for stuff in your own hip recovery, because you had to do pain meds, but then did you find that the diet was beneficial to your recovery? Do you feel like that helped you get up quicker? I mean, you were hiking Machu Picchu not that long after, so.
That's right, less than a year later I was hiking Machu Picchu, so I'd have to definitely think that overall my lifestyle and my eating habits were helpful in recovery and improvement.
Yeah.
But this is what I would recommend to any and all patients.
Yeah. Just all around.
You know that what standard American diet is inflammatory causing.
Right.
And we want to get rid of that.
Right. Okay, so speaking on that, we talked about this earlier. What would be an inflammatory diet? What are the things that cause inflammation in our body and we may not know it?
Yeah.
How can we prevent that?
Well, we're talking about your processed foods. Most of the baked and boxed and canned foods that are refined and processed, not only do they have trans fats maybe in them, more of your polyunsaturated omega-6 fats that are more inflammatory causing. They're, your baked products that make for longer shelf life. They'll have things like the soybean oil or hydrogenated fats and trans fats. Those are more inflammatory causing, and we want to balance that out so we have more omega-3 fatty acids, which are anti-inflammatory.
Right. What is an anti-inflammatory food, and what do we look for? Are there, criteria that gives us the anti-inflammatory benefits? Right. What are those?
Well, let's just do general. General. What is an anti-inflammatory diet?
Yeah.
And that's just a healthy diet that everybody should be eating. The opposite of the standard American diet, SAD, the SAD diet. Everybody should be eating real whole foods. That means natural and they're unprocessed form, unrefined.
Okay.
Optimally organic and
Yeah.
non-GMO.
Yeah.
And just a lot of produce, fruits and vegetables and
Yeah.
whole grains and your legumes, your dried beans and peas and lentils and
Okay.
add nuts and seeds.
Yeah.
And get your omega-3 fatty acids through sources like salmon and your fish oils. And that is the general. Everybody should be eating this diet.
Yeah.
And it would help a lot with all the other degenerative diseases, not just arthritis.
Yeah.
So now that we did the general how we're supposed to do it,
Okay,
let's get
yeah.
a little more specific.
Yeah.
So mostly plant-based.
Okay.
I'm not total vegan or vegetarian,
Yeah.
but let's choose mostly plant-based. If I'm looking at everybody's diet in America, where are your fruits and vegetables? Anti-inflammatory diet is a diet for everybody.
For everyone.
And it's similar if you want to learn to the Mediterranean. I think Michael Pollan's the one who coined eat real foods, just plants and not too much sugar and fat. That kind of sums it up.
Yeah.
Another little acronym I learned, I can't remember who I learned it from, is but eat the GBOMBS.
Oh yes, I wanted you to say yes, the GBOMBS. You've taught us this a million times.
GBOMBS. Okay,
Yes.
so G stands for greens.
Yeah.
So your greens. B stands for your beans, but that means beans, legumes, chickpeas,
Yeah.
lentils. Okay.
Yeah.
O stands for the onions and the garlic.
Okay.
M, mushrooms. We didn't talk about mushrooms. But
No.
mushrooms are, there's more and more we're finding out about mushrooms.
Mushrooms has its own category. It
Yeah.
has its own little. It has its own letter.
But mushrooms, vitamin D, selenium.
Okay.
They're great.
Okay.
Anti-inflammatory.
A lot of
foods.
stuff going
A lot
on
of-
with mushrooms.
Yeah.
Love that.
We're learning more and more about that.
Yeah.
That wasn't never talked about when I graduated
Yeah.
as a dietitian in the 80s. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the second B stands for your berries.
Berries. Okay.
All different kinds of berries.
Right.
And the S stands for seeds and nuts.
Okay.
But I also include spices in that.
Okay.
Don't forget the spices.
Yeah.
Your herbs and your spices.
Yeah.
So GBOMBS.
GBOMBS. That is easy to remember, though. I wanted you to say that because I was like, that is something that has stuck with us for a long time.
It's a way
Because
to think about it.
if you look at it, like you said, like it's a variety of food.
But you
fruits,
should be
veggies,
including it all the time.
all the time, not just for a certain time of your life or
Yeah.
post-operative or whatever,
Right.
but all the time.
Right.
I love that.
Or green leafy vegetables.
Okay.
So think spinach and kale.
Kale, yeah, okay.
The collard greens and the mustard greens. Beet greens are great.
Okay.
But even beyond that, even celery is good.
Okay.
Brussels sprouts, broccoli.
Okay.
May not be your leafy greens, but
Yeah.
they still have
They're
those antioxidants in them
Okay.
that help fight off the free radicals
Right.
that cause the oxidative stress in our body.
Right.
Cause the inflammation.
Right.
Fruits, in our fruits, berries are an excellent source of anti-inflammatory. They're high in antioxidants.
Okay.
Think of, most people hear about blueberries, but don't just stop with blueberries.
Mhm.
All the berries,
Yeah.
raspberries and blackberries
Okay.
and cherries. Tart cherry
Yeah.
juice without any sugar added, and pomegranate juice, just 100%.
Yeah.
Those are great anti-inflammatory.
Anti-inflammatory. Fascinating.
Mhm. But berries are an excellent source of a fruit to have every day.
Yeah.
Don't have breakfast without some berries. But
Yeah.
don't just stop at berries, because all of our fruits, think of apples. Apples have pectin, and they're a type of fiber that's a water-soluble fiber that
Okay.
helps absorb some sugars and cholesterol so that you don't digest and absorb them. But
Cool.
berries are also low in sugar, and that's the other part of the diet we want to keep out of our sugars.
Less sugars. Yeah.
We know that a diet high in sugar and processed foods is highly inflammatory. A diet high in sugar also makes your body more acidic.
Okay.
And if your body's more acidic, you're not going to fight off infections very well.
That's really interesting. Okay. Why can't we be acidic? and fight off.
The way I understand it is bacteria and virus, love to thrive in an acidic environment.
Okay.
If your body's more alkaline,
there's no room for it to live or to. Fascinating. I don't think I ever thought
immune
of that.
systems can kick in.
That'd be really helpful for some of my patients, like especially if they have a hard time healing, even just like their incisions or something. I wonder if we could have that conversation. That's really fascinating because I have a lot of patients like that haven't been able to heal well, and I would bet that a lot of it has to do with their diet because they're doing everything else, cleaning it, keeping everything clean and sanitary, but then I feel like that would be like it's from the inside out.
Yeah, and then there's people who are promoting the alkaline waters.
Yeah, that's super fascinating.
We haven't finished with the fruits. We talked about the berries and tart cherry juice and pomegranate. They always think the dark purples, blues, and reds.
Purples,
those are the
blues,
colors
and reds.
that
Okay.
are going to give you the antioxidants, so the anthocyanins and the phytonutrients in the fruit that is the healthful compound.
Okay.
But pineapple's yellow, but it has bromelain in it, and that's a protease enzyme.
Okay.
That helps with not only digesting protein, but for like athletes and muscle recovery.
Oh, cool.
So another reason why we should have a wide variety.
Mm-hmm.
Just have the same things over again every day.
Going from tropical all the way to
It's just that some of those tropical fruits like pineapple and mango and bananas are higher in sugar. And berries are lower sugar, higher fiber, but they still have redeeming qualities.
Yeah.
Bananas are high in potassium. We need potassium to balance out sodium.
Right.
So we still want a wide variety.
Yeah.
Onions and garlic. Garlic is considered an herb, I guess.
Yeah.
But man, that should be in every meal.
Garlic should be?
Garlic, again, is one of those antiviral, antibacterial.
Okay.
And onions that have allicin in it.
How should garlic be in there? Aren't there certain ways to prepare it, right? Like, when as soon as you open it up, it starts to...
Yeah, when you press garlic or crush it, it releases allicin. So you can, do your chopping or pressing a little bit ahead of time before you put it in, let's say you're sauteing.
Okay.
So that it has time to release that.
Okay.
And I like to put it in a little bit later in the cooking process so that it doesn't get burnt or overcooked.
Right.
And it releases all that garlicky flavor.
Yeah. It's the best smell. That and cilantro are like my favorite smells in the kitchen. That's awesome.
And that goes in the wellness brew,
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Those ingredients.
Yeah. What about onion? What is it about onion that you...
Well, onion and garlic kind of in the same family.
Similar.
And they provide, and the fiber, so I call them my kind of healthy detoxifying.
Nice. So do you prefer them, are they good cooked, or does that give away anything?
I say have them anyway.
Anyway, either way?
Cook them both.
That's always good to know.
That's the way it is for a lot of vegetables.
Yeah.
You don't have to always have them raw, and you don't have to always have them cooked.
Okay.
Have a wide variety.
Yeah.
Because when you cook some vegetables, let's say carrots, you break down the cell wall and you release the nutrients out of them. Your body can digest it and absorb it.
Okay.
And like kale, some people with thyroid conditions, it's better to have those cruciferous vegetables cooked.
Okay.
So that it breaks down some of the cell wall and doesn't interfere with thyroid function.
Yeah.
There's a goitrogen in them that you don't want to interfere with.
Okay.
So
that's good to know.
Steaming or lightly cooking.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
And then if you're eating more of a plant-based diet, trying to get your proteins that way, choose the legumes.
Okay.
That's your dried beans, of course, cooked.
Yeah.
Gets rid of some of the leptin that, it's got a bad rap these days.
Okay.
But, again, it gives not only protein source, but it's fiber, minerals like calcium and magnesium.
Right.
And iron, and so we want to include that in our diet. And combine it with a grain, like you have beans and rice.
Yeah.
Corn tortilla and refried beans. You're getting the combination
Nice.
to get the essential amino acids you
Yeah.
need from those
Yeah.
two sources.
I wonder if that's why a lot of like the farming countries, like you've been to Peru, I've been to Peru, like why that's why, or maybe that's why they serve
Think about it, yeah.
that for every meal, breakfast included.
That's what's provided in
That's
that
fascinating.
environment, and that's what
Yeah.
they've learned to.
Taking it from the
Live off
ground
it.
and
Yep.
serving it up.
They can't
That's
have
cool.
all the animal protein, and they get
Yeah.
the protein through their.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
And then don't forget about nuts and seeds.
Mm-hmm.
A great source of some of our omega, like walnuts, are a great source of omega-3 fatty acid.
Okay.
And then there's flax seeds
Yeah.
and chia seeds.
Right.
A good source of omega-3. Flax seeds, the best thing to do is grind them right before you use them.
Oh, really?
You can buy it in the ground form, but
Okay.
you can also buy it in the seed form and grind it in a little coffee grinder right before you use it. So
Oh.
that your body, because if you don't grind it, your body's just
It won't
seeds are gonna go
process
through.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting. That's good to know because I always put things like that in my smoothie.
Well, it gets ground in the smoothie. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
it's okay. Good.
Yeah.
Worried. What am I doing wrong? Do you have to do that for chia seeds or just the flax?
And chia seeds have a different fiber that once it gets hydrated,
Yeah.
it swells up, and it
Yeah.
makes that gelatinous. That's
Yeah.
more of a water soluble fiber.
Okay.
And so that's processed differently.
Okay. Cool. Never knew that.
Nuts and seeds we're talking about. Brazil nuts. They are a great little source of selenium, and we know selenium is important for anti-inflammatory
Okay.
responses in the body. So,
I've never heard of a Brazil nut, to be quite honest. Do I get them at Whole Foods or anywhere? H-E-B?
Yeah, you can
Costco?
find them there, yeah.
I've literally never heard of this.
You haven't?
No.
They're a big one. They're probably not as popular, but I've heard some nutritionists say one a day. Everybody should have one a day.
One seed a day?
To get there. No, one.
Or one Brazil nut a day?
Because they're pretty large nuts.
Oh, okay.
And,
I'm thinking,
yeah.
I keep picturing like a...
Okay,
Like a
sometimes
sunflower
when you
seed.
get mixed nuts, a can of peanut mixed nuts, there'll be those big ones in there,
Oh, yes.
Kind of look like a toe.
Makes me want to eat one. That's great. Yeah, okay. I never knew that.
But they're good. And then on an anti-inflammatory diet, what a lot of people forget about is the herbs and the spices.
Yeah.
We need to be adding a lot more of that to our diet.
Yeah.
So that gets me into the coffee idea. So
Yeah.
herbs and spices like turmeric.
Mm-hmm.
Turmeric's the big one out there because it has the curcumin in it.
Mm-hmm.
I try to have a teaspoon a day of turmeric.
I was about to
powder.
say, how often do you use
Yeah.
turmeric? I feel like you use it
Teaspoon
often.
a day. They say if you keep it in your, constantly in your system, it has that anti-inflammatory effect. So I have it in my coffee.
Yeah.
And I will add turmeric, but I just make a blend of other spices.
Yeah.
So I'll put cinnamon,
Mm-hmm.
and we know ginger is another anti-inflammatory,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe cardamom and
Okay.
coriander.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, these are all the ones in your healing soup.
And the healing soup, yeah.
I'm going to put the healing soup recipe underneath, as well as Superel's color Superel concoction, coffee concoction.
That was fun.
It's worth it. It's the most delicious coffee.
It's different.
And the healing soup truly heals. 100%. I'm a testament to that.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, coriander. What's the other
Cardamom.
Cardamom.
You can even, grate some nutmeg in there.
Right.
So your blend of whatever spices you want to put in your coffee is great.
Yeah.
Just knowing that cinnamon can help with blood sugar control and cholesterol control.
Awesome.
And ginger is well-known anti-inflammatory, great for the digestive tract.
Yeah.
So those are the ones you want to be adding. Don't forget other herbs and spices that there's just a plethora of them that we should be adding to our foods all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Rosemary and thyme,
Yeah.
cumin,
Yeah.
all those are have parsley,
Yeah.
cilantro,
Yeah.
and let's see, coriander seeds are the seeds of cilantro. So
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So we need to be in basil. Just
What? I've never known this. So it's the same plant. Cilantro is just the leaf, and then the coriander is the actual
the
seed.
Yeah. And you get it ground, or you can get the seeds and grind them yourself. But,
Oh
you know.
my gosh. I'm learning so much today.
So much. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And then basil, you said.
Yeah. And we think
And
about
that's
basil,
so
it's a dark green leafy.
Easy to add. We've been adding that a lot lately to just a chicken, mozzarella, tomato, basil.
Okay,
Bacon.
so
GBOMBS. Put it in your back pocket. It'll be there forever.
I touched on whole grains versus refined grains.
Mhm.
White flour, white rice. You
Right.
want to have the whole grain.
Right.
Most people don't understand. Let's just take let's say the wheat berry, the whole grain wheat. It has the outer bran.
Okay.
And the endosperm, and inside is and it has the outer bran and the germ and the endosperm.
Okay.
Well, what white flour is, they get rid of the outer bran layer.
Yeah.
And they get rid of the germ, which has all of the vitamin E and iron, the good stuff.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
get rid of the bran outer layer, which is the fiber, and you end up with just, white powdered carbohydrate. So we want to eat the whole grain to get everything.
That's fascinating. I've always known to choose brown rice, but I never really knew why. That's good to know. So it's an extra process that just takes away all the goods.
Right.
Fascinating.
Right. All right. So then let's get down to a little more specific, because we know that the fats in the diet are, there's so many different kinds, and we want to balance our omega-3 fatty acids with our omega-6. And
Okay.
if we're eating a lot of processed foods, packaged foods, you're getting a lot of things like soybean oil, corn oil, safflower, sunflower oil.
Yeah.
And if you're getting more of that than you are of omega, then that contributes to the inflammatory response.
Okay. Yeah.
So we know that your olive oil is the best.
Okay.
Especially EVO, which stands for extra virgin olive oil. And you want to get the first press or cold pressed.
Okay.
And there's different grades of olive oil. And probably the most expensive, and those that come from an estate, those that are labeled with the date on the bottle.
Yeah.
So you know when it was harvested, and
that's what you're looking for. That
should,
kind of like
you
premium.
Have it, consumed within a year. You don't want it any longer than that. And it's good to keep your olive oil in the refrigerator, and it'll harden because it has monounsaturated fats in there.
That's fascinating.
Some poly, and so it'll cloud up. Yeah. But it doesn't hurt it. It actually preserves it a little better, because olive oil will go rancid fast. You don't want to cook it at high temperatures, and the higher quality it is, the more you don't want to heat it up.
Interesting.
So there's, some olive oil you should just use for dipping and for salad dressings where you don't cook it at all.
So like Italy, where they do the all bread and all that. Okay.
So here's the best piece of evidence. Secret a lot of people don't know is that olive oil has the compound called oleocanthal.
Okay.
Oleocanthal.
Oleocanthal.
If I'm saying it right. And when you swallow it, you get that peppery sensation in the back of your throat.
Okay.
And that means that the olive oil has that in there.
Okay. Which means it's premium, like it's legit.
And the pepperier it is, the more it has in it.
Okay.
And that ingredient is almost the same thing as ibuprofen. So that's the anti-inflammatory.
Oh, that is cool. Oleocanthal.
Yeah.
Fascinating. That I never would have. Never would have.
But that's what's destroyed if we overheat the olive oil. So you want to be cooking at a high temperature. So oils that are helpful to be cooking, if you really got to cook it at a higher temperature, like avocado oil or grapeseed oil.
Okay. I was wondering because I was like,
they can
we use
handle a
avocado.
higher heat.
Okay. I was like, we cook with avocado oil every time we cook on the skillet.
Well, and there's, because there's different grades
Yeah.
of olive oil, you can cook with it.
Okay.
It doesn't have all that oleocanthal in it.
Right. Oh my gosh. Oleocanthal. That is so cool. And so that's what's, okay, similar to what's in ibuprofen.
So while we're talking about cheeses or dairy products, because a lot of people consider dairy as inflammatory.
Right.
I say keep to the fermented.
Okay.
Yogurt. Use your yogurt.
Right.
Make sure that it's organic. And I get some Greek organic plain yogurt, not the kind with all the fruit and flavors and sugar added.
Yeah.
Just plain. You add your own fruit to it.
Yeah.
And that way you're getting your probiotics.
Right.
And, and then other cheeses to choose from. Probably better for you are those made from sheep or goat milk.
Okay.
So you can get like I like the sheep milk feta. It's another Greek cheese.
Okay.
Another fun one is Manchego. It's a goat cheese. That's a hard cheese you can slice.
That's the one we've brought to parties, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that cheese is good. That's good to know. I can have that and not feel guilty about it.
And
I love
also,
that cheese.
buy the higher quality cheeses, the sharper aged cheeses, aged 90 days or more.
Okay.
That's going to be better for you. And provide some vitamin K, believe it or not, in cheese. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know they had vitamins in them.
But the processed cheeses, the cheeses
Yeah.
that are piled high at the grocery store,
Yeah.
that are made in bulk,
Yeah. Gotta stick to kind of that, the front section, right, where you gotta stick to all that produce area.
Higher quality aged cheeses. And, maybe stick with sheep and goat cheese.
Sheep and goat. We just had some really great goat cheese the other day, and it was so refreshing because it was sweeter than I expected it, but we had it with apple slices.
Oh yeah, there you go.
And it was such a great snack, especially being outside. You need something cool, but kind of filling if you're looking for something to satisfy you. And it was really yummy.
Yeah.
I really like that.
We are talking about mainly anti-inflammatory.
Yeah.
Let's talk about our beef, pork, and poultry.
Yeah, this is actually
where do we get that? Because,
very important.
The way the food industry feeds, these animals with grains like corn, soybean.
Yeah.
They're genetically modified.
Yeah.
And that the animals eat this. That gets into their system.
Yeah.
That produces the polyunsaturated omega-6 fats that we
Yeah.
need. So I recommend that we get all pasture-raised, grass-fed.
Okay.
And so that means it's going to be more expensive.
Right.
But let's make a practice of going to our farmers markets and supporting them.
That's a good point.
Getting those kinds.
Yeah.
Eat seasonally fresh and.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have meats every day, so it doesn't have to be expensive.
Right. And I think that's a fascinating point, because I think when people think protein, they automatically go to meat. Like if we're not educated in health and nutrition or just foods in general, that we don't understand that, like you've already talked about, there's so many other sources of protein, of good protein, that don't only look like a cow or a pig, right? And I think because we're in Texas and we've kind of grown up in this southern farmer land idea that it's just from the cows, right? Or it's just from the chicken, or it's just from the pig. And like that's all we have to choose from. But there's a lot more sources of protein. And then, people that do choose to go vegan or vegetarian, they have to find that protein in legumes and all these other things.
There's plenty of proteins, but it's hard to get some of our B vitamins.
Okay. That's good to know.
And iron from just plants.
From just plants.
And that
mainly comes from meat sources. That's really good. A good highlight.
My idea is God gave us incisors and grinders, so He gave us all the teeth to eat both plants and animals.
Yeah.
But I really feel that over time, the way our animals have been fed and processed to be able to mass produce them and get them on the market and sell, they become unhealthy.
Yeah.
And so
we
need to choose the ones that are pasture-raised, grass-fed, and organic. Things like your fish oil, and the good fishes to have are salmon, sardines, mackerel, not king mackerel, trout, anchovies, herring. Those are your better type of fish to have to get that fish oil with omega-3 fatty acids.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Why not king mackerel? Just curious.
It's a bigger fish.
Oh.
Okay. Up on the chain. Yeah.
That's fascinating. I've never heard that before. So what is it about anchovies? Because I know anchovies and sardines make me cringe a little bit, but I know that you and Casey eat them all the time. What are the two benefits?
I think it's just something you gotta develop a taste for. If you don't like that fishy flavor, maybe that's not the fish.
So it is really fishy then?
But there's a lot of ways to prepare it.
Okay.
I love making salads with the sardines or even canned salmon.
Do you chop it up? Do you puree it? What do you do? I can't imagine because it comes in actual fish, right?
Are you talking about the sardines?
Sardines.
Yeah.
You just put them on your salad. You just have a bed of greens with a sardine laying on top.
And then once you add the salad dressing on it, other flavor, it's great.
I'm gonna have a liquid salad to cover the sardines. That's so funny.
We said that.
Yeah.
Should not be farm raised.
Yeah.
You want your fish, salmon, to be what they call Pacific Alaskan wild caught.
Right.
Okay.
You want to hear where the water is. Hear the.
Yeah, that's really.
Should be able to recognize the water name.
My bulletproof coffee.
Yeah.
And we're finding out more and more that coffee has its own antioxidants in it.
That's
it's
new.
actually considered, one of the superfoods now.
Fascinating.
However, a lot of people can't handle the acidity or the caffeine. Now you can get it caffeine free, but still benefit from antioxidants.
But does it need to be a certain kind of coffee?
No.
Or that you've seen?
I
they specify?
Always organic. It's my preference, but
as fresh as you can get it.
Yeah.
To be.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But the coffee prepares the way you like it, and then add, the little mixture of turmeric powder.
Yeah.
And whatever other herbs and spices you like in there.
Yeah.
And then I add chocolate. We didn't talk about chocolate.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And what I mean is 100% unsweetened cocoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's also cacao. Cacao, which is the
actual plant, right?
Yeah. The actual plant name. And because that has, it's good for your blood pressure, good for arteries, good for atherosclerosis, good for the brain.
Yeah.
And so I include that in my coffee every morning.
Yeah. The process is kind of comical. So we've all inherited this concoction, and everyone our friends know about it. Everybody knows about it. So yeah, so she'll do a full pot of coffee usually because there's always someone here. We're at her house. Usually there's 12 people here on a normal day. She'll make a full pot of coffee. She'll put. How big is your thing? Your thing that you drink out of every day? Your
well, what I do, I actually measure.
Yeah, that's true.
I do 2 cups.
True statement.
2 8-ounce cups, not the European 5-ounce cup that.
So 2 8-ounce cups of coffee.
Of coffee.
Okay.
And 2, I'll put it in my blender.
Yeah.
And I add my turmeric powder blend mix.
Yeah.
And the square
of MCT oil.
Well, that's.
Oh, sorry, the square. I'm sorry, the square of
the cocoa.
Right. Yeah.
And then the MCT oil.
Right.
Now, I ran out of MCT oil, so I've been putting
I was wondering, because I went to have a cup of coffee this morning. I was like, I didn't see my MCT oil.
Costco's out of it. I couldn't find it.
I actually didn't see it either.
I've asked for 2 weeks in a row now.
Yeah.
So I'm just using my Evo oil.
Oh.
Because putting fat in your coffee helps slow down the digestion, helps prevent the sudden rise and then the down of your blood sugar.
Yeah. So she blends it, which I think is. It makes it frothy, and it really gets a nice mix, but it tastes creamy. Even, do you put half and half in yours, or do you not?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes?
Yeah.
So every now and then...
I'll use almond oil, milk.
Almond milk or whatever,
whatever I have.
Yeah, kind of creamer. So good. It's one of the best coffees. And it's better than bullet coffee, I think, no offense, but it is. So anyways, I think that is a really easy way to get some really great herbs and spices, but also antioxidants in your system first thing in the morning, and fat. So, I mean, it helps fill you up. It helps get your day started. But then you have this prolonged release of caffeine, so you don't get that high and low by the time you get to the office or whatever.
Because I used to not really be able to drink coffee too well because I would get that hypoglycemic reaction.
Yeah.
Mid-morning before lunch. So,
oh, that's awesome.
Here's a, if you're not a coffee drinker, but here's a good beverage just to have during the day. I'm having this because it's summertime and I like something cold in the afternoon.
Yeah.
It's green tea. So steep or brew your green tea with ginger. You can grate it up on your microwave.
Oh, okay.
You can, slice it.
Yeah.
Just let it steep for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then add a splash of that tart cherry juice or pomegranate if you want some flavor in there.
Okay.
And that's
nice.
That's a great beverage.
I'm gonna try that. We need a change from just water. Sean's like, give me something else, something different. So that'll be easy.
That's adding at least three anti-inflammatory ingredients in one beverage.
So green tea, steep your green tea
with ginger.
And what did you say how to do the ginger?
You can grate it with microplane.
Okay.
And then when you're serving it, you just strain it out.
Okay. Perfect. Strainer. And then a little bit of that tart cherry juice if you want a little bit extra.
If you want some other.
Serve it over some ice.
Or pomegranate juice.
Ooh, I'm gonna try that. That sounds really good. I need something refreshing. All the time because it's 100 degrees outside. Yeah. Love that.
Add one more quick easy meal. It's a typical meal you and Sean always make.
Yeah.
Like you chop up some sweet potatoes.
Yep.
And you
always have sweet potatoes.
Stir fry it a little bit.
Yep.
Tenderize it.
Yep.
And then have broccoli.
Yep. Always have broccoli.
Or Brussels sprouts.
Yep.
Okay. Anti-inflammatory foods.
Yep.
They're the cruciferous vegetables. They add your sulforaphane. They're cancer preventive.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you might have some protein source. That could be your salmon.
Yeah.
You could even pan fry that.
Yeah.
If you don't want to heat up your oven.
Kyle bakes an incredible salmon. We've followed his. So simple. You put the salmon in, a little bit of oil, spritz it with some lemon, and that's it. If you get the right salmon, like you talked about, like getting the organic, like where it came from. It's not farm grown. It's from.
Oh, I didn't mention that. Yeah. I'm glad.
But so sweet potatoes, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, something like that. Yeah. And then we'll go to Costco at least and get like the plethora, huge box of black beans.
Yes.
And just that's a great source of protein. And I like to have some kind of grain, but I like doing quinoa is super easy and you can cook a lot of it.
I didn't say quinoa, but that's a good
so
substitute.
Easy. Yeah. But we do chicken often for our meat because it's just chop it all up and you cook it all together and it's just you get some really great flavor and it's all in one skillet, which makes life cleaning up after.
And so it's summertime, and summertime is the time I love for lunch salads. It's cooling, it's refreshing.
Yeah.
And so an anti-inflammatory salad meal would be. Have you ever gone to Hot Buddies and had their kale salad? This is I kind of got.
I have not had their kale salad. No.
Well, and it comes with watermelon slices or chunks in it.
Yeah.
I've never had that combination before, but it's a kale salad. And it's got some sprouts, maybe some pumpkin seeds, or you could put walnuts on it or pecans.
Yum, yeah.
And the watermelon, if you didn't want watermelon, put those berries on there.
Yeah.
Your blueberries, your raspberries, blackberries. And then a oil and vinegar dressing with garlic. All those things, right?
Yeah.
Inflammatory.
Yeah. That sounds really good.
Evo. Virgin olive oil.
Yeah.
In that salad dressing.
I would have never thought to put watermelon on, but I bet that would be so nice.
During the summer, it is. It's so hydrating.
Well, it's so popular and they're everywhere. You can get them anywhere at any store.
But somehow, the combination of that watermelon with that vinegar and oil dressing.
Yeah, it was good.
It's good.
That's awesome. I never would have put that together.
Yeah. And then if you want some protein, like a feta cheese.
Yum.
You could add your salmon. You can throw your salmon or
Yeah.
sardines in there.
I'm gonna hold on sardines for instance, you know, like even the store, whole foods, like whole, they want you to eat whole. Like some people think of it as like only the hoity-toity shop here.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it could be a little expensive, but it's because they have this caliber of like, eat what the farmers have created, like
That's
what
what
the
I'm saying.
ground has produced, what the farmers have brought to
Right.
you. Eat the whole.
Unadulterated by the food industry.
Yeah.
Nothing added. You know,
Yeah.
the, preservatives, colorings.
When you just feel like you'll feel better when you
Yeah.
eat real food, like that guy said. Just eat the real food. You feel different because you're actually getting the nutrients. You're actually getting vitamins and minerals, things that are from the earth. That, you know, it's just the way God intended us to eat food, is just to eat the real stuff. Don't eat the fake stuff, the processed stuff. So, anything else, Super L?
I'm sure I left out a lot of stuff.
No, I thought that was so great. There was a lot of detail too that I think like the why behind. You're not just saying eat your fruits and veggies, but you're saying there's actually huge properties of these things that is the reason why we focus on them. And I think that's important to know. Cool. I think we got it. Good cheers.
Cheers.
Yay!